I'll cheer if we don't have homework, and that's coming from me. Like, I don't even like.
I'm sorry. There's no more of that.
And I don't even
It
know.
wasn't even.
I'll do backflips.
Wait, Mr.
Maybe on a Friday.
Mr. Munoz, I heard that.
No, you heard nothing.
No, I heard that if we
It's
didn't cheer, we were gonna
recording.
have homework.
Wait,
You heard nothing.
I did.
it's recording.
Wait, is it today Friday?
I'm yeah,
it's
recording.
Is it today Friday?
Okay, look. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was gonna make them the offer until I realized that the only person wearing that shirt was Callie. And you know what my response would have been, right? If I had said, do this.
No, Mr. Munoz.
No. So,
You have no
alright, cool. Let's do this real quick. This one is interesting because this one is an or, not an and.
Oh, I know that.
So, whoa, that was bigger, huh?
So it's
They fixed that.
Maybe. So, let's do this real quick. If you take a look at the first part here, you got 5x plus 6y is less than 30. Or you can sit right there. Let's start with the, if we make x 0, what's y going to be?
6.
6, right?
Oh, no, 5.
5?
Oh, yeah, 6. No. Yeah.
Yes or no, bro?
5, yes. 5.
Yeah, so that's going to be 5.
Yes.
So, we're going to make sure it's a solid or broken line. Broken line. And then put the point there. So we're going to go 0, 5. That's not 5 at all. How do I do that?
You put another point and then you do it.
Yeah, you hit 0, 5. Yes,
I
you
did.
Yeah,
That's
it
not
says
5.
up there in the corner.
No, put another point. Go.
No, I'm
Yeah,
going to
go
clear
to the
that.
point.
Okay.
Just clear it.
Because it's an even graph, see?
Yeah, but it should be here. See, not up there. So 0, 5.
Yeah, see, it's up there.
It wasn't earlier. Was it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. And then the other one should be 0, 6, right? So there's my other point.
Oh, you don't subtract?
No, you're just dividing.
Yeah, because...
Okay? Now, this, if I plug in the point 0, 0, I'm going to get 0 plus 0 is less than 30. Is that true? So I shade where 0, 0 is at. And I'm going to grab my little bucket. I'm going to grab my bucket. There's my bucket right there. Boom, there it is. Now the other one says x minus 6y greater than 6. So if x is 0, what is the value of y?
I can't even see it.
If x is 0, what's the value of y?
1.
Negative 1. So I'm going to grab my point here, negative 1. And for the other one, if y is 0, x is going to be 6. So it goes here. And this says, if I plug in the point 0, 0, which is right here,
It's going to be on that small triangle.
it's going to be, is it true or is it false? It's false, so I got to shade below that, don't I? So I'm going to have to shade this part and this part right here too, because that's all over the line, right?
Yes.
And in this case, I got to do both of them because the answer can be in one or the other, not one and the other. Okay?
This is the one that has like only one space.
So let me save that.
That's the hand.
That was this one. Fantastic, I'm done, man.
She needs more help. Munoz. Munoz.
Let me,
Isn't there something like NOR where they have like opposite?
give me a second. Let me,
Okay. I'm gonna shush.
Huh?
Huh?
Just a white one.
Start, what do you need to do?
I know what I said.
Is it bad or what? Is it bad? He's doing the same
Okay,
shit.
try to see if it's open. Let me know if it's not. Other questions on the homework?
Needs more help.
I don't know. I haven't touched my
With
computer
this one?
all day, and I don't know.
I can do it again and then I'll do it on the other slide. That way you can see everything that's going on, okay? So let me go and hit similar question. And I'm going to snatch this up. Yeah, because it was kind of weird doing it from up there. So that way you can see everything that's going on, okay? So here's this. Okay? So, shh. Can you please come back when I don't have class? Thank you. So, looking at the first one, if x is 0, what's the value of y?
4.
4. And if y was 0, that's the other one,
5.
the value would be 5, right? So I'm going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0. This is just that, which means I'm going to use a broken line. So, I could probably do better than that. But anyways, not right now.
Get your ruler.
Now, I need to figure out whether I'm going to shade under this line or above that line. Okay? So, the way I do that is I'm going to test this point 0, 0. When should I use 0, 0?
When
Always.
it's available.
Always, yeah, when it's available, right? So, if I put 0 in there, 4 times 0 is 0, 5 times 0 is 0, 0 plus 0 is 0. Now, the question is 0 less than 20?
Yep.
So that means that where that point is true. So everything under there is going to get shaded. Okay?
Like the beat.
That's good. That's good enough. Okay? Now I'm going to do the other line. Stay. If x is 0, the value of y would be negative 1. If y was 0, the value of x would be 6. So I'm going to go negative 1, put a point there, and then, what's the other one? I just have,
Positive 6.
thank you. So 6, 0 is that one, right? No, 6 is right here. So I would connect those with a broken line as well. That's
So
sorry.
long as broken.
Don't be hating on my line.
Oh, I know you.
I need to decide whether I'm going to shade above the red line or below the red line now. And again, I pick.
0, 0.
Yay, 0, 0. 0, 0. Is 0 greater than 6?
Nope.
No. So I have to shade
Below.
below that line.
Oh.
So I'm going to grab my highlighter. I'm going to use purple here. And I'm going to shade underneath this. Okay?
So, Mr. Munoz, when it's true, you go up. When it's false, you go down.
If it's true, you go on that where that point is at.
So,
If it's false, then you go on the other side of the line.
okay, so it's like if this was true, you use 0, 0, it would go up.
Right, I would shade above.
And then now it's okay.
Right, but because we got a false for this point, that means that that's not a solution. It's down there.
So, or like if
Now-
it's like 1, 1. Then, yeah.
1, 1 would be up there,
Yeah. So.
which
then-
would still give me a false.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, any point up there would give me a false.
Okay.
Now, here's the difference between or and. Okay? Do you see how this only has a certain part of it where it's all of it shaded?
Yeah.
It's not this piece right here because that only has the purple, doesn't it? And this piece over here only has the yellow. It's what's defined by this that has both shades in it. If we were looking for one and the other, then it would be that part that has both mixes in there. But because it says or, it doesn't matter where the answer is, as long as it's in either one of those two. So all of this is the solution. Everything that you see there. So technically it should all be just one color. Okay?
How would you write it out? Like.
Well, now I got to go back and graph it on the other. Because you don't write it out. No. Be impossible.
I feel like that's how we did it.
Write it out.
No, there's no writing out. This is the solution.
Okay.
So
Wouldn't it be like infinity the
what was it? There was a broken line, and we had, what was it? 0 on X. It was 0, 4? Oh, that's not the right line. 0, 4, and
I'm so tired. Honestly.
0, 4, and 5, right?
Yeah.
And then the other line was negative 1.
And negative 6. Positive 6.
Negative 1 and positive 6. Hold on, I didn't hit 5, did I?
No, you didn't.
Oh,
yeah, you
man.
did.
No, not the first
Really?
one.
The first one. You can move it if you just drag it.
Okay, so this one went from
Okay.
4 to 5, and this is 5,
That's
right?
not 5.
Sorry, Alex.
That's
No,
5.
that is 5 because that's 6. It's going by evens. That's 5.
Oh, it looks like a 5.
Yeah, it does. 4, 6, 8, 10.
My bad. It looked like a 5. It looked like a 5.
Yeah.
So broken line.
There's points right there at the top right that you could do it.
It's right there.
Man, I'm gonna like throw this.
There you go.
I need you guys to stop yelling at me.
Now put your bucket everywhere.
No, not everywhere.
Well, on the
So there's my 2 lines. On this one, we had to shade below, right? So that's below it. Oops. And this is below that line. For the other one, we had to shade below that as well, which is that.
and math.
Math.
We'll check it and then say math.
Check it.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Math.
Math. Okay.
I already know this because I got 100% of it.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
4. Me. Gabby. Dang it. Please be Gabby. No, Emily.
It's Amelia. Okay, what else do you guys want to see on the?
What are we doing today?
We're gonna answer the questions and we're gonna do 3.5, the last section. Somebody.
Can we do 3.5?
Will you do another problem similar?
Ow!
Actually,
You don't understand what I did with x is 0? You don't understand what? You're talking about this up here. Okay. You ready? Please recognize that this is an inequality, right? We're going to treat it like an equation for now. Okay? So technically this is how we're thinking about it. Like that's an equal. If I plugged in a 0 for x, what's 4 times 0?
5.
It's 0, right? And then I say, well, then if x was 0, what would the value of y be?
4.
Wouldn't you have to go divide by 5? Divide by 5, that's 1. So y equals 4. That's what we did.
So you don't just use that 4 number?
And then what I do for the other one, Lacey, is I say, well, what if y was 0? Well, what if y was 0? If this was 0, then that's out of the picture, isn't it? So what I'm saying is y is 0. So now I would go divide by 4, which means this would be 5. And there's the 2 coordinates I need to make a line. Cool? You want me to do the other one, or you're good? Awesome. Thank you for asking. I don't want you to get lost in that. That should not be the reason why we don't get stuff. I think you were next. Then
Can
you
you do more like the two-step ones where it's like x plus 2y and then greater than or less than negative 3 or something like that? Like how you know what I mean?
Like that?
Do you have a number?
You know, like graphing it.
We did. Didn't we graph those? Let's look. Yeah, we graphed them. If you need to go back and look at the video, you can. They're on YouTube when we're done. Hold on. I said you, and then you go. Okay, go. You gotta wait your turn. It's the ladies first. Sorry, lady.
Sorry.
Okay, never mind.
what I want to know is, I know you repeating yourself.
That's okay. Shh.
Where to highlight it?
Okay, cool. Good question. Let me go back to this slide. Delete. Okay. I'm going to do this one real quick, okay? So that should have given me x is 0, 4. And then it should be like this, right?
Yeah.
So you're okay with that. Now, here's what I'm going to do. This says 4x plus 5y is less than 20. I'm going to check a coordinate. Okay? Now, I'm going to pick something right now that's not 0, 0. Because I want to. Something that is out here somewhere, like 10, 10. Okay? Definitely up there, isn't it? Okay? Now, watch this. 4 times 10 plus 5 times 10 is less than 20. 4 times 10 is 40. Plus 50 is less than 20. Is 90 less than 20? No. It's not. So, should I shade where that point is? I should shade the other side, correct?
Yeah.
So I'm saying, let's shade all of this. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you another thing real quick. What's the point on this side? Ah, easy point, right? So, 4 times 0 plus 5 times 0 is less than 20. That's 0 plus 0 is less than 20. Is 0 less than 20?
Yeah.
So I confirm that that's the side that gets shaded.
Okay, so you check it from there.
So I don't need to do it twice though. You see how the first time I got a false? So that means I just shade the other side of it. Because that's where the answers are, not this side. And that's it. Good. What's up?
Can you help me on one of them?
He had a question first. Go ahead.
If we go back to the previous slide that you had,
This one?
if you put
It's
it
pretty
as,
gross slide, but go ahead.
You put as the one on the right, you put as a 6, 0, but that's like a -6.
If the value of x were 0, then I would get a -1 for y.
Yeah.
And then the other one, if y was 0, then the value of x would be positive 6.
Wait, mister, are you dividing 6 into 600 times?
Let's do it again. Let me bring this out because I'm a little shorty. Okay? That's the one, right? Okay. X minus 6y equals 6. Okay? Let's make x 0. If x is 0, what would y equal? Huh? Woon is talking here. Have some respect. Go, Woody Woo. -1. Okay? Now, let's do another one, but we're going to make the y 0. So, what's -6 times 0? 0. What does x equal? Change. Sense. Okay, Iana, you had a question now.
I just don't know how to do this one.
Which one is it?
It's number 1.
Number Juan. Venga aquí, Juan.
Yeah, one like that.
We did 2 of them right now. This one's easy. This instead of doing 2 of them,
So like we
on this one it's just 1. Watch. Let me do this real quick. Shift plus plus. Oh, what the? Okay. If x is 0, what's y equal to? 4. And if y was 0, then x would be equal to 4. So those are the 2 coordinates I need. So let me go to here. I want a broken line. I want the point.
No, you want
No,
a
you
No,
want
you
solid
don't want a
line.
broken line.
Yeah,
Oh,
solid.
good. Thanks. That was an accident. So I'm gonna go to here. That doesn't even look right.
Wait, put it on the point, put it on the point. Yeah, you
Let me
gotta
just do
have-
this one, and then I'm gonna move this one.
3.5.
Yeah, up, right there.
All right, cool. So there's the line, right, Eliana? Now I need to shade it. So I'm gonna shade. Now here's the question: do I shade below the line or above the line? Good. Bam. Bam. We're good? I'm going to point this out right now because Mr. Shapiro's probably going to watch this. Yesterday's video, I made a mistake at the beginning. And I put a note in there. I said, thanks, Mr. Shapiro. But I put in a negative and then another negative, and then I went negative times a negative, and I left it negative. I made a rookie mistake, so I just wanted to point that out to everybody. Okay? Put myself on blast there. Thanks, Mr. Shapiro.
Thanks, Shapiro.
Yeah, everybody should stop by his room and say, thanks, Mr. Shapiro.
Mr. Shapiro, watch out.
He's good. He's awesome. Go ahead.
I think it was 14 that I had.
14.
Yeah, you just did that.
Let's go 14, 14, 14. We just did 14.
Oh, ocho también.
Ocho Pinocho. This one?
Yeah.
All right, cool. This one's nice. Okay, cool. You guys ready? Watch out. Let's start with this one. If the value of x is 0, what's y going to be? Negative 6 is correct. If y were 0, then x would be 2. And the other one's just a vertical line, so.
I thought it was a
Sorry,
horizontal.
but you're good? Okay, cool. So let's graph this. I want to graph 0, negative 6. So, well. So this point, and what's the other one? 2, 0? Is that it? 2, 0. So there it is. So I shade above or shade below? I can try 0, 0, can't I?
Yeah.
Is 0 bigger than 6?
No.
No, so I shade
Over there.
below. Now for the other one, it's a vertical line. It's a broken line, right?
Yep, that.
Okay, broken line at y equals 2. So here is 2, and then here's another one. Now do I shade above or shade below that?
I did it harder yesterday.
Below.
Shade below, right? Notice how this cut off the other part here?
Yep.
So now it's only that, isn't it? So, man.
Isn't there like another one that's just like more?
What you talking about?
Another what?
Isn't there like another problem where like it's telling you like nor? No?
Anything else? All right, cool. Let's get to work. Close your computers. Grab some paper for some notes. It's note time.
So many files.
Summertime. It's the ice.
Do you freeze your water?
No, my wife does.
You know it's better if like you're hot, it's better to have cold water instead of cold.
I think cool water's cool.
You cannot digest cold water. Your body has to warm it up first so that you can digest it. But if you do drink cold water, that means that you're going to turn your metabolism on. And you're going to burn more calories.
Well, I just know like if you're ever really dehydrated, drink cool water, not cold water.
Correct, yeah.
Because I one time was so dehydrated.
Because you can't use it.
I had cold water and I about threw up.
Yeah, you can't use it. All right, cool. Let's do this. You guys ready?
You throw up with cool
No,
water.
wait.
Yeah, you can because your body's
Yeah,
so
it's
hot.
it's
The
trying to-
contrast.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you put hot water on frozen ice.
I like that you said frozen ice.
I know, just
Oh, I meant frozen glass. I thought I said glass.
ice.
You said I.
Frozen
My
ice.
bad.
Still.
In my mind, it was glass.
Well, hey, so this one time, my mom, we like make tea in our thing, right? And my mom, she had this like really nice, like it had, you put it in the fridge and it's like glass and you like turn the nozzle on and it like puts the
Oh,
tea out.
correct.
And so like it was empty and I wanted to leave it in there so our tea could get colder fast. So I left it in there and I made tea and then I took it out and I put it on the counter poured the tea in it, and it just busted everywhere.
That's cool.
And
Have you
I
ever
was
put
like-
it in a plastic and it
And then
shrinks it?
I didn't tell my mom, and she looked in the fridge, and she's like, where's the thing at? And I'm like, I don't know. And then, yeah.
She got away.
Did you get away with it? Or did you get caught?
No. She's like, what happened to it? She asked my sister, my brother, everybody, and they're like,
This is
what? You had that in there? And I'm like, oh, Mom, I did it.
Oh, I remember. Here's the 1,000 pieces. All right, here's what we're going to do. Distinguish between independent and dependent variables. Define and identify relationships and functions. Find the domain and range. Identify functions defined by graphs and equations. And we are going to stop there because I don't think we're going to get farther. We might not even get through all of that.
What did you stop at?
4. Okay? So here we go. For starters, you need to distinguish between independent and dependent variables. We often describe one quantity in terms of another. The amount of your paycheck, if you're paid hourly, depends on the number of hours that you work. Make sense? In this case, the hours you work is an independent variable, and the pay is a dependent. Your pay depends on how much you work. The cost at a gas station depends on the number of gallons that you pump into the car. The distance traveled by the car moving at a constant speed depends on how much time you travel. So, whenever you're thinking about independent and dependent, just think about which is explaining the other. Which variable explains the other? Right?
Just think about this.
You can always go back to the video and copy all that. Define and identify relations and functions. I'm going to tell you my story, and because it's my favorite story, it's my most favorite story for functions, because it's easy and it makes sense. Okay? So we're talking about how to identify relations and functions. In a relation between a boy and a girl,
Why not a boy and a boy? Or why not a girl and a girl?
Can we not?
Boy and a girl, let's do it.
Just so you have.
it always fires back at some point. Let's say
It's too
Relationship between first names.
a relation.
Just use boy and girl.
That just killed it.
girl. Just
Just
do
boy
that.
and
$2.
girl.
I was just kidding.
Boy
No. I need to think about it some more. So I will. But this is kind of the way we're. No, it's not. This
Just
kind
do
of
it
defeats the
right
point.
now.
Pumpkin and a jack.
So let's say relation between a boy and a girl. Sorry if anybody gets offended.
Why are you looking at Alberto? Why are you looking like that?
Giving you the winky eye.
Oh, God.
Alright, sorry, let's go move on. So we have X, let's consider these guys to be the boys. And then we're going to consider these to be the girls, okay? So if we're talking about a relationship, in order for it to function, in order for a relation to function, there's only one rule. Do you remember the one rule?
There are no.
Here's the rule. Every guy can only have one girl. That's it. No, that's it. That's the rule. In order for a relation to function, every boy can only have one girl, and that's it. Okay? Please do notice I didn't say anything about the girls, did I? The rule says every boy can only have one girl. That's it. So if a relation's going to function, one boy can have only one girl. That's it. Okay? Keep that in mind as we talk about these sets of data. So take a look at the top. Here we've got a couple of relationships. Is this first example a function? Why is it not a function?
Yes. Yes, it's a function.
There's two dependent variables.
-1 is with girl number 2 and with girl number 3. So no, that dude is cheating. So the first one is not a function because guy number 1, or bachelor number 1, however you want to say it, is cheating.
Wasn't
It's
it?
cheap.
Okay? In the second example, is that a function?
Yes.
Well, we've got 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
Do any of those repeat?
No.
So do I have to worry about cheating?
No.
No, I don't.
Well,
Wait, don't change
You
it.
gotta worry about your girl, not satisfying her.
The top one is no, and the bottom one is yes, a function. So not a function. Yes, a function. I'm like a bird, I wanna fly away. I know where my home is.
Sounds like
You got that.
I've got that power. Okay, looks like we're good. Moving on. Take a look here. Sometimes it'll be easier for you to notice if you create a mapping. In this case, I've got all of the domain values. That means all the x's. And on this side, I've got all the range values. That's all the y's. 1 connects to 2, 2 connects to 5, 3 connects to 6. Is that a function?
yes.
In this case, 1 connects to 2, 2 connects to 2, but 2 connects to 6 as well.
Relation.
Is this a function?
No.
No. Why?
Because it's
Guys,
cheating.
that guy is cheating.
Is this the problem?
Yeah. Or
No.
No, that's not the problem. He's the problem. Please understand that girl number 2 is not the same as boy number 2. So this one's cheating, not a go, not a function.
Not a good. So then what's that would be a relation, right?
This is not a relation. I'm sorry, it's a relation, but it's not going to function. Not going to function. See the connection there? Okay.
So what if it's not like, if it's not a function, then it doesn't,
If the relation, if there's a cheater in the relation, then it's not going to function. So it's not a function. Can I put your phone away?
so if you plug it in, it's not correct.
Let's take a look at some more examples because they don't have the table ones, which are some of my favorite ones. So let's go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10,
No.
12. Is this a function?
No, sir.
No.
No.
Not a function.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Because there's 2 5s.
Two different.
5 is with 10 and with 12, so that won't work. Okay? So let's go 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 12. Is this a function?
Yes.
There's 2 5s,
But they're the same point.
but it's the same girl, right? It's okay to go on that double date. Or sorry, the second date. Not a double date. Maybe they're twins. Okay? Function or not a function?
Yes.
Function.
Yes.
But there's 2 4s and 2 5s.
Yes, it's
They're the Y's.
Oh, yeah.
The
Those
Y
are
can
girls. Yeah,
The girl.
Y is allowed to do that.
Yep.
Madonna. I love those animals.
Okay, cool.
What, Alberto?
Next part. Find the domain of range. You've never voted, bro? Strike a pose. There's nothing to it.
Oh my god.
Like that. Find the domain and range. When we talk about domain, we're just talking about the values of x. When we talk about range, we're simply talking about the values of y. Good. For example here, what is the domain?
The years.
Here.
All of the years, 1999, 2000. So I can put them into a list like this. Say, hey, here's your domain. Personally, I'm lazy. I probably would have answered that question with domain.
Mr. Munoz,
But you can't do that on Math Excel, so.
could you put 1999 dash 2004
No,
like through?
no,
No.
no, because that's implying the whole thing, and we don't know if it is the whole thing. So we don't know if these are data points that are in January or if they're in December. So all we can do is do that. Okay? And of course the range values would be all the other parts, right? Okay, cool. So yeah, in this case, yes, it is a function. None of the years repeat, so we're good to go. Now let's take a look at this one. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's a picture of a function. And yes, it is a function. But we need to find the domain and the range. I like when it's with the pictures because it's easier to see. Okay? So what did we say domain was? The values of x, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the x-axis, which is this one, right? And then I'm going to try to figure out where it has x values. Is there an x value here at -5 for that? Sure there is. I can jump down and I'm on the graph, aren't I? Is there a value for the function here?
Yeah.
Sure is. How about here? Sure is. How about here? Sure is. How about here? How about here? Yeah. It's going to do that because it's going to do that forever, isn't it? So how far to the left can I go and have a value for it? Forever, right? So if I go to this side now, how far can I go this way before I can stop? Still infinity, right? Therefore, the domain here is from -infinity to +infinity. It's every single number. It's all real numbers. I'm done. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Cool beans?
What's the range then?
Negative.
Let's get this one first, okay? Are we good with domain?
Yeah.
Shane, Omac?
Wait.
Questions on domain? No, don't just say yes. You need to understand.
I got it.
Okay, good. That's what Will's question was.
Negative.
We'll get there once everybody has domain. We're good? All right. So if domain is this x that goes side to side, range is y. It's the one that goes up and down, right?
Yes, sir.
So let me ask you this. How far down to infinity, -infinity do I have to go to get the last number down there? I don't, right? So the range goes from -infinity. Now, how far up can I go until I get to the end of the function? And there's the range.
Wait.
Well, see how it's a closed dot? It's a closed dot, so it's capped off.
Go ahead.
Negative infinity? Where-
How far down can I go till I get to the bottom of this function?
So you get to hell.
Because remember, it's getting smaller, smaller,
So
smaller,
it
right?
doesn't matter if it's actually on Y, it doesn't matter where the point is?
Well, there's two to make a point, remember?
Yeah.
There's two. It goes this way and it goes this way. Remember, if I want this point, don't I have to have an x and a y?
Sure.
So when I'm talking about domain, I'm only looking at that number. When I'm looking at range, then I'm just looking at that number. So will I ever not have coordinates on this?
Huh?
Will I ever not have coordinates? This will go down for how long?
Forever.
So forever, I'll have -infinity, -infinity, won't I? So what is my smallest value for y? -infinity?
Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense now.
What's the highest value of y that I'll ever have?
Oh. Because it stops there,
Right.
right?
That's it. You're done. Man.
Mr. Munoz, would you have to put an open dot instead of a closed dot?
No, not if it's a function, no.
Okay.
That would be not a function.
What would it be then?
Not a function. It would be the graph of something that is not a function. There's a couple rules that you guys will talk about when you get to calculus that will define what a function is more. Here. Here's my favorite example to show you guys. Actually, let me. Okay. You need to learn to identify graphs by their function. I'm giving you parent functions right now. This function is a linear function. Please sketch this. Write it in your notes. You need it. This is linear. And all I can do to this graph is move it up, down, and then change its slopiness. I can flip it. But that's it.
Oh, I missed that.
I can move it up or down. Anyone remember the linear function?
This is the linear.
This is a linear function. It's a line.
And then coconut.
Ha! That was good. Oh, so easy to entertain. Yeah, boss.
Like, this is dealing with the, two-dimensional, so like, what would be for like three-dimensional, like X, Y, and Z? How would
Yes,
you-
it would be X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, how would you find the function for?
If this was three-dimensional object, then you would not be a function, because you would be able to cross it. Because remember, even if you have two, then you're going to come out, aren't you? And once you come out, at some point, I can cross it twice. Pick up anything that's three-dimensional. There's no way I can put a line through it without hitting it twice, right? Entry point, exit point. Entry point, exit point.
Unless you have a point in.
Entry, exit. You'll always have two. Not a three-dimensional object, sir.
What if you have here like that stuff?
No, the point is that you can go through.
What do you just like it?
No. Okay, that's that one. Next one is an absolute value function. Absolute value function. Hey, what's the domain of this guy? Actually, let's talk about this domain. What's the domain of this bad boy? That's good to know, right? If negative infinity to,
Positive infinity.
what's the range?
Negative infinity, positive.
Negative infinity to positive infinity. Again. Now, go to here.
Oh,
Here's your absolute, your absolute value. What's the domain of this bad boy? Negative infinity to positive infinity. What about the range?
0 to infinity
To positive.
would be 0. 1
It's 0 to
infinity.
positive infinity.
What's this one called?
Absolute value. Here you go. Oh. Okay, cool. It's nice sitting air conditioned. Isn't it cooler in here now than it is in the morning? So much more. Like right now, I'm actually getting a little cold.
I know, I am too.
What would be the domain range?
Here, the domain is all real numbers, so it goes from negative infinity to positive infinity. The range, though, what's the smallest x or y value here? 0, and it goes up to positive infinity. Yeah. Because the other one went down forever, didn't it? And it stopped at some point here. Here, it starts there and it goes up forever. Make sense? That is cool. I have one of those. I like it. Looks like we're out of time because you guys are packing up.
Yeah, we have
Oh, thank you. I'll stop this then.